Welcome back to the Hillbilly RV channel. Today, got a good one for you here. Got a BAL slide room. Luckily, it's a small one. And I believe we have a bad gearbox. But we're going to have to get this room out, I believe, and to just, to get part numbers and stuff like that. I mean, I know we'll have to get it out to repair it. So yeah, we're gonna get started here. And me and the customer, I don't know, we may have to just physically get this thing out because the gearbox, I'll show you here in a minute, the gearbox is just completely bad. So, and I usually don't show you removing the fascia and all that, but so I'm going to show you that today. And it's real simple. They typically allow, give you some kind of access panel here. It's just 2 screws and this comes off. And if the room were out, we would have complete access to the gearbox and all that. And the adjustments of the cable. Of course, you can always remove these other 2 pieces of fascia too if you need more room. But I'm going to remove this. We're going to look up in there and see if we can see what is spinning and what ain't spinning, and just go from there. Oh. That's no help, so we're going to have to go ahead and remove both these small pieces of fascia too.
That's fine.
There's a lot of times when you move this remove that center panel, this will be open, so you can get back in there. But they actually put the full fascia on this one here. Just take our handy dandy little crowbar and just very gently remove this.
Do you carry these motors?
I do not, no sir. No. They're just held on with like 100 brad nails. Now we'll have to remove this top part of the
Brad that thing up there too?
Uh-huh. And then they put this little piece of trim up here, and then they also the paneling and the ceiling will be bradded to this board we need to move to.
How long does it normally take to get these motors in?
Oh, just 3 or 4 days. All right, so we got the trim off. Now we're just getting the brads out of this paneling here, because the paneling in the ceiling is also bradded to this board. All these brad nails have to come out anyway, so might as well just get them out of the way. Y'all do know what I'm talking about when I say a brad nail. It comes out of a pneumatic gun. It's just a little wire nail to shoot back in, because I'll put the same thing back in it with my brad gun. It's a brad nailer, I guess, is more a technical term for it. Last one. Now we can see the gearbox and the motor. I'm actually going to ask the customer, just push that button. Let's see if we can see anything turning at all. Okay. One more time. Okay. All right, there's a little drive shaft between that motor and that gearbox. The drive shaft is turning. The way that gearbox is bulged, I would say we got a bad gearbox. So now, me and the customer are gonna have to try and get this room out so we can get to that. And then sadly, I'm gonna have to order parts and we'll have to come back and fix it later. So I'm gonna probably sit down here and get my feet against this room and push on it, let the customer push the button. See if we can get this thing to move at all. Let me just push on it here and let's see if it'll move. You hit the button. Hang on a minute, hang on. Let me get reset here. All right. All right, that's good. Well, that worked better than I thought it would. Luckily, this is a very small room. It only has a dinette in it, and it's probably only, I don't know, 7-foot room. So that's a big plus. So now we can get the part number off the gearbox, call BAL, see if it's available right now, order the part, and then we'll have to come back and change the part. We're back here today to work on this BAL Accu-Slide room. We got our motor and gearbox. Customer, he just wanted to go ahead and do the whole thing so he'd have some spare parts. So there's the whole assembly just like they sent it. This is the high torque version. So there's your part number. And so we're going to go ahead and get this motor gearbox assembly changed. And so let's go ahead and get started. First thing I'm going to do is we have to unadjust all these cables. So I'm going to mark them where they're at right now so we can put them back where they're at. So I'm going to do that with a Sharpie. I'm just going to mark the adjuster bolts very boldly, because these adjuster nuts are pretty long. They're, I don't know, inch and a quarter long, so even the ones that are really close, we can still back those off quite a bit. We're going to do all 8 of them. So we should be able to just unadjust all those enough to get the chains to slip off this old gearbox. I hope. That's the way the last one went. We're just going to pull our styrofoam blocks off. As far as I know, they use those to keep these nuts from backing off. I mean, that's all they use, is the old styrofoam block. A lot of times those things are missing, or like this one, just broke, destroyed. So I don't know how much good they actually do. See, that one's not in very good shape. If I can get this camera to focus, there we go. See, it's broke. You know what, actually a little change of plan. Rather than fool with all 8 of those cables, we're just going to take, there's a center adjustment in each one. I'm just going to back those off and see if that will give us enough. If not, I may have to go to the individual cables and adjust them, but it might give us enough room. Yeah, We'll try that. That'll be 4 adjusters instead of 8. Those adjuster nuts are actually about 2 inches long, so that's quite a bit of adjustment. There we go. Well, that should work. We should have enough slack in everything to get the chains off. But I'm gonna do one trick here first. Let's do this here. I just like to put a bungee cord across those cables. We'll do both sets of cables just so that nothing slips down in the wall while we're fooling around, you know, gets off of a pulley or anything silly like that. Man, it's really raining now.
Yeah.
That won't have any effect on what we're doing right here in the center. So let's see if we can slip these chains off. If we got enough room. Oh, it's so close. Still got plenty of adjustments, so I'll back this off a little bit more. There we are. Got that one off. Alright, so we got one chain off. I think we can actually get the screws out of the wall, and then that other one will slip right off. Those chains are a little bit slimy. They got some kind of lubricant on them, so you're gonna have a couple rags with you. Is there a hidden one somewhere? Nope. Gotta go get something. Just go ahead and snip them wires off that motor, and then we can get that one out of the way. Get our new one out of the package. Get the old one out of the way. Just put that bottom chain on. Now we're going to start putting the screws back. Go right back in the exact same holes. Must be some kind of structure back in there for them screws to bite into, because they bite pretty good. Alright, so the bottom chain we already got on. Now we're going to put the top chain on. Just like putting your bicycle chain on. Now all we have to do is run all of our adjuster nuts back up where they used to be and should be good to go. As soon as we get a little tension on them cables, we can take our bungee cords off, get them out of the way. I'm just going to run all 4 of them adjusters back up and then I'll be right back. You may be able to hear it started raining pretty good out here, so all the cable adjustments are put back where they belong. I can probably put these back on, but I'm actually going to wait to make sure we don't have to adjust any individual cables. I don't think so, but we won't know for sure till we run in and out. So I just need to make my electrical connections. Now these wires are kept purposely short so they don't get tangled up in the top of the room or the chains or the cables or anything. Right to the furnace grate, right? That's where those always go.
Yep.
It did, didn't it? I didn't mean to let it get away from me. But it's a given. Anything you drop inside of a camper goes straight to the nearest furnace duct. Electrical connections are made. I'm going to actually tie these wires up just a little bit. They're just a tad longer than they used to be. Use a trusty old zip tie. The rain let up a little bit, so customer's standing over here. I'm going to let him push a button and let her come in a little bit and see what it looks like. Gonna run outside, make sure everything looks nice and square and everything's flush.
Is there anything you had to do there, like on my part?
No.
For putting some lubricant there. I know you're not supposed to lubricate.
No, I wouldn't do anything. It'd just be squeak and squeal. All right, looks fantastic on the outside, nice and square. The bulb seal's all nice and squooshed. So now the customer's gonna run it all the way out. Awesome. Okay. Can't really see the seals in here. Piece of wood's in the way, man. It went out nice and square, I think. Yep. Well, all right. None of the jam nuts were tight on these adjusters, so we are going to snug those jam nuts up. I'm going to put my little foam blocks back on because all the individual cables look fine. I'm going to start putting this fascia back. Customer had a very valid question just now. He wanted to know, why does this chain have a little slack in it? Well, because that is the inside. This is the outside. It's nice and tight because we just ran the room out. So this end has a little bit of slack in it. If we were bringing it in, this one would be tight and this one would have a little slack in it. And it's not uncommon for, you know, a cable or two to have slack, you know, because when you bring it in, the out cables may have a little slack. When you take it out, the in cables may have a little slack. You would drive yourself absolutely crazy trying to get all 8 cables and both them chains in both directions exactly the same. And it does not change the function of the room at all. They work just fine. You know, I don't know, it just is what it is. So I'm gonna get all those jam nuts tightened up, just the 4, not all of them, 4 of them, and then we're gonna start putting the fascia. So I'll be right back here in a minute. Try and give y'all the best view I can possibly give you. I actually had somebody comment just the other day on another BAL Accu-Slide room I was working on, and they's like, well, if I take all the fascia boards off, the room will fall out. For one thing, you don't take them all off. You just need to take the top one off. Now, if you're working on the cables, you might have to take more than the top one off to get to the cables down at the bottom. If you do, spring the room in about a foot or so, and then you can take the fascia off. You can take it all off. It ain't gonna go anywhere. So yeah, to answer that question, I got a lot of the brad nails out when I was here before. Now I got to get the rest of these brad nails out. Just pull them through the back side. That way you don't have a big old hole in or a mark on that side. So we're gonna get all these pulled out. I'm gonna go get my air hose, get my brad gun, and I'll be right back. Went and got my brad nailer. Yeah, I probably should have an electric one. I had an electric one a long time ago, and it never did work very well. So I've been pneumatic ever since. All right, like that. Usually this fascia is in 2 pieces. This little insert goes in here. Then they had this batting strip right there. Make sure I got all the brads out, yeah. I believe that's the way it went right there. Okay. Thank you. Hard being 2 places at once.
Yes, it is.
And that, folks, is how you change your BAL Accu-Slide motor and gearbox assembly. I think you can order the parts individually. You can order the gearbox, or you can order the motor, or you can order it as an assembly. So like I say, the gentleman elected to just buy the assembly. And we changed it out. It's good to go. Room goes in and out. So just want to remind everybody to check out the show notes below. All the links, email, Patreon, PayPal, Amazon store, all that stuff. And don't forget to go down there and give me a comment, give me a thumbs up, and I'm gonna go down the road and fix another one. And y'all have a fantastic day.